When we talk about finding our spark, we often imagine a dramatic moment of inspiration, a lightning strike, a sudden realization, an aha moment, the universe whispering something only you can hear. But some days, your spark walks into the room on the wrong day, a week earlier than they're supposed to. And sometimes that person becomes your mentor. My story starts at Alfred University my sophomore year. Jason Amor had just returned to University Advancement as the vice president. Jason and his wife Kara were signing their kids, Addie and Julian, up for swim lessons. But they did show up a week early. Depending on who you ask who misread the dates, it did change, but it made me laugh all the same. And my coach, Brian Stryker, encouraged me to leave practice and coach that swim lesson. However the case, I'm very grateful for them, and I feel like I have a lot to thank them for. What started as a small, serendipitous moment, hitting it off with the kiddos, turned into a life-changing relationship. Over the next 3 years, I was in Jason's office all the time. Conversations about life, classes, career goals. He was steady, honest, and invested in my potential. When it came time to think about grad school, I walked myself into his office and I said, I'll come back for my MBA, but only if you make me a graduate assistant in your office. He'd already taught me a thing or two about negotiation and when to make the ask, so I asked. He looked at me, laughed, and said, all right, kid, let's do it. So I became the first graduate assistant in University Advancement in his tenure, or so he said. And that alone was life-changing. But at the end of my graduate assistantship, he said something else that might have changed it a little bit more. I had always wanted to work for Disney, and it wasn't really about something specific, it was just my plan A. But he had told me, I know that this is your dream, but I think you have a new one growing right here. You're meant to be in front of people. He wasn't talking about being loud or charismatic per se, although some might translate this as Caroline is a chronic yapper, which, yes, I am exactly that. But he meant I was good at connecting with people. I could synthesize complex ideas and feelings and make them into something that resonated with others. I had qualities that made it easy to motivate others. I was still gaining confidence in my roles, whether it was working with students or alumni, donors, volunteers, but before I saw it, he saw something in me that I didn't. He saw a spark in me that I hadn't fully recognized. Young people need someone who sees their potential, even before they know how to name it. In October 2020, I got my first full-time role right back here at Alfred University. A year and a half later, when an offer came from Fordham University, I called Jason immediately. And he told me I would be crazy not to pursue a place like that. I did, and for the record, he was right. He usually was. 3 years in, I received my second role at Fordham, but unfortunately, Jason had passed away 2 years prior. A year prior at the time. So I called Kara, just like I always do when something serendipitous or great happens, because she understood him, and because our relationship was always our own too. Because when someone shapes your future, their impact doesn't disappear. It echoes in the space they leave behind. Jason is no longer with us, and no one could ever fill his shoes. But the reason I'm sharing this isn't because it's rare, it's because it shouldn't be. We should all have someone like him, and we should all be the best parts of him. So you're probably wondering, how did this chance encounter turn into an ongoing relationship? So happy you asked, it's the most important part. The meeting might have been accidental, but the relationship cultivation wasn't. Jason saw something in me early on and had already given it a name. I didn't fully recognize it at the time, but the key step here was following through. Staying in touch, asking him questions constantly, and kept showing up. He'd probably say to no surprise that Caroline is finally allowed to say, "Thank you for coming to my TED Talk." There was no formal, "Will you be my mentor?" The relationship grew over time through small acts, consistent interactions, and regular conversations, and that turned into guidance and advice that carried me very far to where I am today. So what is it really? Why is it so important? I pare mentorship down to 4 areas. The first being that mentorship accelerates learning by shrinking the timeline between outcome and execution. It's kind of like a living shortcut to experience, if you will. It's a person or people that help you understand complex ideas faster, avoid missteps they may have made, and make more informed decisions earlier in your career. That was very true about my relationship with Jason and what he taught me. He helped me recognize patterns, gave me perspective that saved me from learning everything the hard way, although he did not let me off easy every time, for the record. It wasn't about giving answers so much as helping me understand ideas and examples through his own experiences, helping me move forward with the type of confidence that he exuded instead of hesitating out of fear. Number 2, mentors don't just guide you, they're meant to challenge you. They often push you beyond your comfort zone way before you think you're ready, trust me. It is stressful work. But Jason did this when he said that I was meant to be in front of people, kind of altering my whole entire career path. At the time, I was still figuring things out and, trying to gain that effortlessness that he had when he was in his own roles, but in my own. His belief in me raised the bar. It wasn't reassurance every time, but he was setting an expectation I for sure would not have set for myself. So number 3, mentorship is about a relationship, not a transaction. It can be effective even when it develops quietly or informally over time. Formal titles, program structures aren't a requirement to make an amazing opportunity for you. My mentorship relationship was built through that stuff I mentioned earlier, the staying in touch, asking questions, showing up. This could look like a lot of things, and it can be different for everybody. Grabbing a coffee, a quick meeting, a check-in, but in my case, it was the coveted invitation for barbecue chicken nachos, a staple in the Amor house. And finally, some of the most powerful mentorship is accidental. While it's structured is the preferred method and what we highlight the most, there are several reports that show that there's an equal importance to unplanned organic mentoring. Those serendipitous conversations, genuine interest, and being seen at the right time for you. Accidental mentorship is perfect for meeting people where they are, and it's a constant reminder that it doesn't need to be intentional to be so incredibly important. Jason may not have known the full impact he had on my life, and I wish I could tell him every single day. But I'd like to think he has an idea. He helped me grow into a professional that I am so proud of, and I imagine he would be too. So what is a spark? I think we've had a lot of people say what a spark is today, but what is my spark? My spark is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. In that book, it has a quote that I have tattooed over my heart in Greek that reads, "Είμαι φτιαγμένη από αναμνήσεις." This means, I am made of memories. When you really think about it, who are we but if not a beautiful constellation of moments, of memories shaped by people we've loved, learned from, and grown alongside? Also, P.S., if my tutor is watching this, I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. I'm a little nervous. But that's the thing about the spark, right? It doesn't exist in isolation, and it isn't necessarily something that you stumble upon alone. A spark is ignited by connection with others. And for me, it's come to life in the space between me and those I love the most. So I want you to look around your life. You can look around this room. You can look around your classroom, your workplace, your community, and I want you to ask yourself a few things. Who might need you to say, I see something in you? And who is standing exactly where you once stood? If you're early in your career or too young to have experienced this yet, don't worry. Your mentor might just look a little bit different than you imagined, and they might show up a week earlier than they were supposed to. If Jason hadn't walked into the pool a week earlier than he did that week, none of this would have happened, and I truthfully would not be standing here right where I am today. I attribute him with a fearlessness to advocate for myself, although if you ask my loved ones, they might say that it's to a fault, just a little bit. Sparks rarely wait for the right moment. They arrive when we show up. Friendship offers support, teaching offers knowledge, supervision offers evaluation and evolution. But mentorship kind of sits in this funny space combining belief and challenge and a little bit of long-term perspective. Have patience. Jason wasn't grading me or managing me, and he wasn't encouraging me every single time. He was pushing me and holding doors open when I didn't know if I could walk through them alone. He gave me people like Kara and my old supervisor, Mark Reardon, and helped me see a future I couldn't yet imagine for myself. So if you can believe it, to this day, I carry around a keychain that I brought with me today, with the saying he mentioned every Friday like clockwork. Like, I swear, this man exhausted this every week. Have fun, be safe, make good choices, and don't let anyone who isn't worth it waste your time. Jason was all four for me. A mentor, a supervisor, a teacher, but most importantly, a friend. And one day, I hope I get to pass my keychain along to his kids, Addie and Julian. The same reminder he gave me once a week of how worthy we are of the time, the energy, and the lives we work toward. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.